Hey guys, Ramsey here. Welcome to another video. Today, we're going to do an early impression video on a new fragrance for me and a new brand. And anytime I try a new brand, especially a new niche brand, I'm not just judging the fragrance, but I'm judging the house because I'm seeing if I want to dive further into the house, if I want to, go further and test out more stuff or what. This is a 2021 release, so we're going, if you've been following my channel, most of the stuff that I know and love at heart are vintage fragrances, stuff from the 70s, 80s, even early 90s. Some of my favorite fragrances of all time. Yesterday, my scent of the day was Antaeus Sport, which many people don't even realize there is a sport flanker of Antaeus. It was only around for about a year, 2 tops, and then they discontinued it. And so stuff like that is where my heart lies in the perfume realm. This is a niche brand from 2021, and the brand is called Astrophil and Stella. This particular one is an extrait de parfum. I don't know if they're all extraits, and this is called Chéri. Okay, so outside of the catchy little name, a little detail on the fragrance. Number one, this was created by Nathalie Feisthauer, who is a fantastic perfumer. You know, she's done some absolutely amazing work. She's well known in the industry as, one of the greats, you could say. She did things that I love. Like, for example, she did Havana. She did Honor Man, which even though I don't have a bottle, I've got like 50 mils of decants of that stuff. And so let's just say I'm a fan of some of her work, okay? And this fragrance is a 2021 release. Like I said, it's a new brand. Their pricing is high. It's a niche house. It's not terrible, but it is high. So I think these only come in 50 ml bottles. And it's 160 euros, which I think works out to be about $175, maybe 180 US dollars nowadays. For 50 mils, I mean, that's not cheap. Eugene's perfume, which I think is in a 100 ml bottle, in the Les Abstraits line, which I have a bottle coming, and the ingredients smell much higher quality than this house, I'll tell you that right off of the bat, is $240 for 100 ml. So $175, $180, depending on the euro to dollar conversion, is high, okay? But let's talk about the fragrance. So the easiest way for me to describe this fragrance is, if you've watched a couple of my previous reviews, one is a very recent review and one is a very old review I'm going to reference. So the recent one is Louis Vuitton's Fleur du Désert. I just did that a couple days ago. That's a 2022 release, and it's very rare that I do new fragrances. I usually don't dabble in new fragrances because many new fragrances suffer from a flaw, and to me, it's a fatal flaw. And that flaw is sweetness. I absolutely despise sweet fragrances unless it's done with a very deft hand, okay? If you want to watch a fragrance that gets hyped in the community that sells for 400 plus US dollars that I think is not worth $5 or $10, go watch my Xerjoff Symphonium review. It smells like one of those chocolate oranges, and it's very synthetic, gross, cheap, disgusting. I absolutely hated that fragrance. It made me ill to my stomach. This fragrance, Petit Chéri, unfortunately, is in that sweet, creamy vibe, okay? And here's the ingredients, or let me just tell you kind of what I got when I initially smell, because I like to smell my fragrances before I look at the notes. So when I first sprayed this, initially, what I ended up getting is I ended up getting a Dior Homme vibe, but imagine if you took the Dior Homme skeleton, which Dior Homme originally is based on 2 notes, 2 main notes. Number 1 is iris. Iris is the note of fame for the Dior Homme series, if you will. But the second note that's just equally as important to my nose is ambrette. And there's a very beautiful ambrette combo running throughout all of the main Dior Homme line. I don't know if it's in Dior Homme Sport, but I know it's in the original Dior Homme. I've got a silver stem from 2005 that is absolutely stunning. It's in the Intense. I know it's in Dior Homme Intense, and I know it's in the Parfum as well. The Parfum adds other things like leather. Some say oud. I'm still on the fence about that, but definitely leather. And so that combination is a winner for me. So when this initially hit my skin, I thought, Iris Ambrette. But within seconds, 5 to 10 seconds, that sweetness really begins to take over. And it almost smells like you're taking Dior Homme and you're turning it into a cake. And not just a cake, but a cake with a ton of vanilla frosting, okay? And there is a very, very, very sweet hazelnut cacao-like smell. And I actually have the real cacao essential, or I don't know if you'd call it essential oil, but this is the cacao absolute is what it's called. Let's see if I can find it real quick here. Here's oak moss. Here it is. Cacao Absolute. Okay, so I've got the real thing right here, courtesy of my brother Russian Adam from the Arise L'Adore brand. And this smells deep, dark. It smells like you're smelling the deepest, darkest chocolate you could ever imagine. There's very little sweetness here. Although cacao, I think, naturally has some sweetness, it's not the synthetic sweetness that you're getting in this. The cacao note here smells very synthetic, almost like you took this, turned it into a milk chocolate instead of a dark chocolate, and just poured an absolute metric ton of sugar inside of it. That's the way that it smells. And, you know, I like, there are some food notes in perfumery I really like. For example, I really love Thierry Mugler's Amen. That fragrance is stunning to me. I love the way it's done. There's like a caramel note in there. You know, there's all kind of, there's a coffee note in there. So there's gourmand elements, and I absolutely adore it. I also like this. I'll just grab it real quick. This is one of my favorite takes on coffee. This is Trussardi Inside Man. This is a sweet, this is a unsweet, zero sweetness in this fragrance. It smells like a Italian cappuccino, no sweetness, with like a cigarette in the morning. It's absolutely beautiful. One of my favorite coffee fragrances. That's the way I like my coffee. So when I saw coffee absolute and cacao absolute and iris and ambrette, I started thinking, okay, this might have a chance. But the problem is that you know, it doesn't smell like you're drinking the kind of coffee that I like. It smells like you've sat down at a cafe and you ordered a pastry and they brought you the pastry and you said, hey, there's not enough vanilla frosting on that. And just to piss you off, they absolutely just dumped vanilla frosting all over it as a joke. So it's this much pastry and this much vanilla frosting, right? And you take a bite of that pastry, and that you realize that the pastry isn't cooked very well. In fact, it's very raw, almost doughy, right? That's the feel that this fragrance gives you, with a slight touch of extremely sweet coffee. I mean, if you know the term like a triple, imagine having a coffee triple style, triple cream, triple sugar, okay? You might as well just, you know, forget about the coffee and just drink your cream and sugar combined, if that's really what you want. And the reason that it has that, I mentioned that it has that doughy vibe, is because there's a note of heliotrope in here. And heliotrope adds this almond doughy vibe to the fragrance, okay? So naturally, heliotrope, I've described it before as having a Play-Doh-like vibe. There's this Play-Doh, you know, like it's malleable. That's what heliotrope tends to bring to a fragrance, to my nose, and it's here. But since it's mixed with edible notes, you get the feel that you're sitting in a, you know, pastry shop or something, and, you know, you are ingesting your extremely sweet coffee with extremely sweet pastry with icing, frosting on top. Again, sweet on sweet on sweet. And so for me, for someone who enjoys things like Dunhill Blend 30, you know, Bel Ami, Cuir de Russie by Chanel, you know, those kind of fragrances are my grail fragrances. Even the stuff that has a little bit of sweetness, I don't like the very sweet fragrances. So this, I decided to go out on a limb and make it my scent of the day. Because I said, you know what? It's a new niche house. I'm working from home today. I have the chance to really focus on it. Let me give it the attention that it deserves. Let me just not spray it on at night before bed. Let me give it the attention it deserves. And oh my God, this was an absolute plane crash. This is, if you've ever seen The Big Lebowski, the plane has crashed into the mountain. That's what this is, to me. And, you know, what's funny is I go read the comments, and it's like, love it, simply love it, lovely scents, great sillage, great performance, can't get enough. The next comment is, I tried this perfume yesterday, it's just a must-have, extraordinary, extremely evocative. You know, my guess is maybe if you are, this would maybe fit a very young woman, maybe like a college-age woman, who is, you know, very playful, and they're not taking themselves too seriously in life yet. This is not for the executive woman who is in a position of power to me. This is headache-inducing sweet. In fact, it's so sweet, I literally had to take headache medicine. If it looks like my eyes are crying, it's because I want them to cry. I mean, it literally is that bad. I haven't had a fragrance this bad that I've tried since Xerjoff Symphonium. And this is, you know, the only saving grace that this has over Xerjoff Symphonium is that Iris Ambrette combo is somewhere underneath all of this stuff, all of this disgusting sweetness. Underneath it all, there is a Iris Ambrette combo that wants to come out. I can see it wanting to come out. And part of me has to wonder if, you know, Nathalie Feisthauer is like a, you know, if she is a prisoner to these brands that want her to release stuff like this. Like, is this really what she wants to be putting out? This sweet ice cream, you know, it boggles the mind, you know. I understand that they want stuff that sells, but this as a representation of your brand is, for someone like me, this is a death nail. This is a killer. I mean, the bad part is, someone sent me the entire sample set, basically. So I have a bunch of these to go through, and what a terrible start for the brand. I mean, if I smelled something like this from an Amouage, I probably wouldn't own 20 Amouages. I probably would have stopped. Even if the other 19 are amazing. You know, this is an absolute stop you in your tracks. What the hell is this? And the fact that it's a new niche house makes it even more disappointing. And this brings me back full circle to what I said at the beginning. Fatal flaw of new perfume. And this is the reason why you don't see many new reviews on my channel, is they are utterly disappointing. Over and over and over. I am constantly disappointed by new fragrances. You know, that Louis Vuitton that they sold for $365 for 100 ml, you know, you would have to grit your teeth for the first 2 hours to get to the good fragrance underneath. This, unfortunately, the good fragrance underneath never comes out. At least it hasn't for the last 6 hours. Oh my God. I mean, it is just like a sledgehammer to my brain. And it's very synthetic. It's very cheap smelling. And you know what these cheap fragrances remind me of every single time is, you know, if you take a piece of paper like this, right? You've got notes, okay? And you take a Sharpie and you Sharpie over the entire piece of paper, okay? even if you have written the most beautiful formula underneath it, the Sharpie completely blocks out any of the words underneath. All you get is black line Sharpie, okay? It's redacted, basically. And the sad part is you know, these modern day fragrances that do these ultra sweet compositions, even if there is a beautiful composition underneath it, you can't see it because it's obscured. Whatever's underneath, whatever was crafted, whatever the perfumer took her time, in this case, her time, to create underneath, you can't smell. And what's sad about that is if you look at the ingredient list here, the reason I decided to blind try this on skin and wear it as my scent of the day today is because I looked at the notes. It's Italian bergamot, Guatemala cardamom, Peruvian pink pepper, Chinese cassia leaf, coffee absolute, cacao absolute, lily of the valley, iris, heliotrope, Spanish cistus absolute, ambrette, tonka bean absolute. They're using high quality materials. Some of them are very specific. Peruvian pink pepper, Chinese cassia leaf, Guatemalan cardamom. They could have used the absolute shittiest cardamom note and you would never know because it's hidden under this layer of sugar. The plane has crashed into the mountain with these sweet fragrances for me. And this is a absolute terrible representation of it. It's a glimpse into the modern mind of a niche, of a house, of a niche house, or even of a designer. I mean, this could be stuck inside of a body, inside of like a Hello Kitty bottle, or a SpongeBob bottle, or a, you know, I don't know, what's a child's perfume fragrance or smell? I mean, this could be a bathroom air freshener, and I wouldn't bat an eye. You know, it could be one of those Bath and Body Works candle smells. It's just, the niche, the fragrance game in general right now is in trouble. They're in big, big trouble. And the problem is they're trying to attract unseasoned noses. They're trying to bring on new people who, you know, they want to get them in the first 10 seconds. They don't want someone to actually take the fragrance, break it down, and put a review out. They're not interested in that anymore. They're interested in going to their shop, smelling it, and going, oh, that's very good. Give me a bottle. You know, in 10 seconds. That's what they're interested in. They're interested in, I said last time that these, I used these words with the Louis Vuitton fragrance I smelled, actually. The fragrance from Louis Vuitton was Fleur du Désert. I used the words that the sweetness at the top almost feels like a Venus flytrap. Like they're trying to trap the person testing it that's buying a $5,000 Louis Vuitton bag to just throw in a $400 perfume. Just throw it in there. Yeah, fine. Okay, great. It smells great. Great. I smelled it for 10 seconds. Throw it in there. Sure, who cares? Put it on the credit card, right? That's the clientele that they're going after. I don't see people spending that kind of... Astrophil and Stella doesn't have Louis Vuitton bags. They're just some fragrance house from all I know. I don't know anything about this brand, by the way. But I've never heard of them before, ever, outside of this. But what's crazy is they have good perfumers. So I mentioned Nathalie Feistauer. They've used Cécile Zerokian on a fragrance called 8 Days a Week. They've used Bertrand Duchefort on Into the... Ooh, that's the one I'm really interested in. Luca Maffei made A Night at the Opera. So they've got good perfumers. And maybe I just started with the wrong one. But the thing is for a niche house like this, there shouldn't be a wrong one. Everything should be good. You're paying top dollar, no matter what you want to say. 180 USD for 50 ml. You know, you're talking over $3.50 per mil. That is high cost per juice. This juice should be top quality. And it's not. It's disappointing. It's a big letdown, very big letdown. And you know, it's like I said, it gave me a headache, huge headache. It smells synthetic and cheap, and it's very disappointing. And it's the new fragrance fatal flaw. Okay, now there are exceptions to the rule. Eugene's La Douleur Exquise is done very well, but it's done by a maverick in the industry. It's done by Antoine Lee. Antoine Lee doesn't play by the industry's rules. He does whatever the hell he wants, and thank God for him. But and thank God for Eugene for, you know, giving him a brief that he could work with that first fragrance. I'm very excited to smell the other two. But here, I'll read you the little blurb, by the way, just out of curiosity, just so you know more about the brand, okay? There's a poem that goes along with it, and then a blurb. So the first is a poem. The last stars were shining on the whiteness of the Sacre-Cœur, while a puff pastry half-moon gently rested behind the hill of Montmartre, and the magic of dawn peeked through the dreamy rooftops of Paris. The Vinoiries were already spreading their dainty and delicious aroma along the sleeping boulevards and encircling the white city in a lively and fragrant morning embrace. An energetic aroma of coffee and cacao defines the spirited personality of this fragrance. Sweetened by the exhilarating notes of vanilla, intense flavors of wood and resin support the spicy aromas of cinnamon leaf and cardamom oil, among floral nuances and arboreal berries that give the perfume a joyful freshness. Freshness, you're right. Wow. So I wonder who wrote that, first of all. And second of all, I really hope that the others are better. You know, it's just disappointing to see, because you do have master perfumers making this. I mean, these are big names. These are not, they probably paid a lot of money to get these perfumers to make these. But, you know, the ingredients have to be good. The brief has to be good. The idea has to be good. It has to be well put together. This is none of those things. If there are good ingredients, it's hidden by that disgusting sweetness. It doesn't seem like they took very much time to care about the dry down. It doesn't just fall apart in the base. There is no base. It just goes this disgusting, sweet, synthetic thing. And it's disappointing. It's very disappointing. So that's my take on it. I mean, my guess is I haven't looked on YouTube, but if there's videos on this fragrance, Chéri, it's probably people going, how great is it? And, you know, stuff like that. But, you know, this is how I feel. I have to be honest with you guys. So I hope one person gets benefit out of this video. You know, the only good thing I can tell you about this brand is they use 2 ml samples. They're not giving you 1 ml or 1.25 or 1.5. They give you a full 2 ml sample. Great. You know, that's the best thing that I can tell you right now about the brand. Fingers crossed that the next ones are better. That's all I can say. I'll try them. I'll do videos on them. But this is disappointing. Enraging, actually, that they're still doing stuff like this. This should not be done. You know, this should be done in a $10 budget fragrance, not a almost $200 niche fragrance for 50 ml. Okay, so that's my take. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have experience with this Astrophil and Stella brand, do let me know. If you have experience with this particular fragrance, Chéri, do let me know. And I appreciate all the likes, comments, subscriptions, the usual stuff that I always say. It is much obliged, and I feel like I need to go lay down now because my head is going to explode. The medicine has not kicked in yet. All right, guys. Cheers. Talk to you again tomorrow. Bye now.